What would happen if the Earth spun twice as fast? Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Right now, our planet Earth is spinning on its axis. This rotation is a fundamental part of our lives, governing the rhythmic ebb and flow of our days and nights. It's something so constant, so unchanging, that we tend to take it for granted. But what if it wasn't? The Earth rotates at a speed of approximately 1,000 miles per hour. It completes one full rotation every 24 hours, which is why our days are the length that they are. When the sun rises, it's not actually moving. Rather, our planet is spinning, bringing us into the sunlight. And when the sun sets, we're simply spinning out of it. This rotation is also responsible for the Coriolis effect, which influences our weather patterns and ocean currents. It's why hurricanes spin the way they do and why our winds blow from west to east. It's a force that shapes our world in ways we might not even realize. But here's the kicker. The Earth's rotation is slowing down. Yes, you heard that right. It's a process that's happening very slowly, so slowly that it's almost imperceptible. But over millions of years, the length of our days has gradually increased from 22 hours to the 24 we know today. Now, this might not seem like a big deal. After all, what's a couple of hours over millions of years? But it's a testament to how much our world is shaped by the Earth's rotation. And it begs the question, what would our world look like if this rotation were to change drastically? Now, imagine if this rotation were to double. Intriguing, isn't it? Picture a world spinning twice as fast as it does today. What changes would we see? First off, our days and nights would be cut in half. Instead of a 24-hour day, we'd have a 12-hour cycle. This would mean the sun rises and sets every 6 hours, giving us 4 periods of daylight and darkness in a single day. Imagine having breakfast, lunch and dinner all in the span of daylight, and then doing it all over again in the same day. Now, let's dive a little deeper. The speed at which the Earth spins affects our climate patterns, weather, and even ocean currents. A faster spinning Earth would mean stronger winds as the atmosphere tries to keep up with the planet's rotation. These winds would whip around the Earth, creating more storms and potentially altering the paths of existing weather systems. Ocean currents, too, would be affected. The Coriolis effect caused by Earth's rotation is responsible for the direction of our ocean currents. With a faster spinning Earth, these currents could become more intense, changing the distribution of heat around the planet. This could potentially lead to more severe weather events and changes in regional climates. And what about our climate zones? Currently, Earth's rotation causes the equator to bulge and the poles to flatten slightly, creating a range of climates from the tropics to the poles. If the Earth were to spin twice as fast, this effect would be magnified, potentially creating more extreme climate zones. In essence, a faster spinning Earth wouldn't just mean getting through your to-do list quicker. It would mean a complete reshuffling of our world's weather patterns, ocean currents and climate zones. It's a fascinating thought experiment, but one that underscores just how finely tuned our planet is for life as we know it. But that's not all. The real changes are far more profound. How would our bodies cope with a rapidly spinning Earth? Now that's a question that tickles the imagination. As the Earth spins faster, gravity would play its tricks. Gravity, this invisible force that keeps us firmly planted on the ground, would behave differently. You see, gravity would be less at the equator and more at the poles. Strange, isn't it? But why would this happen? Well, as Earth spins, it slightly bulges at the equator. This bulging would be more pronounced if Earth spun faster. As a result, if you were standing at the equator, you'd be further from the planet's core and therefore experience less gravity. On the other hand, as you move towards the poles, you're closer to the planet's core and gravity becomes stronger. So what would this mean for us, the denizens of this rapidly spinning Earth? Well, let's start with our physical form. Humans and animals alike might adapt to these changes in gravity over time. At the equator, where gravity is weaker, we might become taller and slimmer as less force is pushing down on us. But as we move towards the poles, where gravity is stronger, we might become shorter and stockier to withstand the increased force. And it's not just our bodies that would have to adapt. Our hearts, which are used to pumping blood against a certain level of gravity, would find it harder to pump blood up to our brains at the poles and easier at the equator. But what about our sense of balance? Our inner ear, which helps us keep our balance, might get a little confused with the varying gravity. This could lead to some potentially humorous, if not dizzying, scenarios. In short, our bodies would have to adapt and evolve in ways we can only guess at. We could become a planet of diverse beings, each shaped by the gravity of the region they inhabit. Living in such a world would indeed be a unique experience. And what about the Earth itself? How would it cope with this rapid spin? Imagine the Earth as a spinning top. As it spins faster and faster, it starts to squish at the poles and bulge at the equator. This is because the centrifugal force, which pushes outwards from the axis of rotation, becomes stronger than gravity, which pulls everything towards the center. The Earth would transform into a more oblate spheroid, somewhat like a pumpkin. Now, what does this mean for the distribution of land and water? Well, it's quite an interesting tale. The increased centrifugal force would cause the oceans to migrate towards the equator. Higher sea levels at the equator and lower ones at the poles could mean the disappearance of some coastal cities and the emergence of land previously hidden under polar ice caps. The Earth's geography would be reshaped, creating a new world map. This transformation wouldn't just stop at the surface. The Earth's interior would also be affected. The increased spin would heat up the Earth's core, causing more volcanic activity. We could expect more earthquakes as well, as the Earth's crust adjusts to the new shape. The shifting of oceans and changes in the Earth's shape would significantly impact climate patterns too. With more water concentrated at the equator, the areas around it might become more humid and rainy, while the poles could become drier and colder. This could lead to the creation of new ecosystems and potentially the extinction of others. The night sky wouldn't be spared either. With the Earth spinning twice as fast, a day would only be 12 hours long. This would mean shorter periods of daylight and darkness, which could affect everything from our sleep cycles to the growth of plants. In the blink of cosmic time, the rapid spin would transform the Earth from a familiar blue marble into a world that's almost alien to us. The landscapes we know, the cities we live in, the climates we are used to, everything would change. Our planet would be a completely different place, wouldn't it? So, our world spinning twice as fast would indeed be a spectacle, wouldn't it? Imagine the days and nights whisking by in a blur, each lasting only 12 hours instead of the 24 we're so accustomed to. Our climate and weather patterns would drastically change, with more severe storms and unpredictable weather events becoming the norm. Now, think about gravity. Its effects would be altered, making us feel heavier and possibly affecting our mobility. The Earth's shape would also undergo a transformation, becoming more oblong than round due to the increased centrifugal force.